Yahoo! So I came in today not necessarily with the question, but with an intent to play with all the questions that have been asked. And so there's been a few things that have came up, and I suppose I should go with what I was thinking of when I raised my hand. So I guess I'm going to start with our beliefs that create our vibration, wherever they may come from. They may be beliefs we are purposely trying to build for ourselves, or beliefs that may have been programmed or default from, being raised in the environments we were raised in.
We have a question for you. Which do you think more reflects your experience around beliefs? Does it feel to you, knowing what you know and having observed what you've observed about your own life, and maybe others, does it feel to you more like you got hold of a thought, doesn't matter who was promoting it to you, you considered it, it became active within you, maybe you witnessed others living something, and as you saw them living it, you observed it, and then you began offering a vibration? So does it feel to you like your beliefs, that first came the observation, and then came the vibration, and then came the belief? Is the belief the byproduct of what you're observing? Or does it feel to you that you're choosing some belief that you want to foster and then focusing yourself into believing it?
I feel like it's a combination and evolvation from one to the other. And I guess my whole process behind this is an experience I recently had, where I realized I had a belief I didn't even have, in which I had been operating on my whole life.
The reason that we wanted you to play with us, the reason that we wanted you to at least acknowledge which one of those feels like it's the most dominant in your experience, is because we want to talk for a moment about how beliefs happen, because beliefs are habits of thought. A belief is just a thought you continue to think. Why? Why do you continue to think it? Well, you continue to think it for a reason that you're not thinking of. You continue to think it because you're offering a vibration, and law of attraction is matching it. And you're offering a vibration, and law of attraction is matching it. And so it's sort of a cycle where you're observing what is, offering a vibration about it, and then getting more of what is. And so that's why things don't change for people very much, is because they observe and offer a vibration, and then law of attraction responds to their vibration and then confirms what they believe. So it's like the joke that Jerry used to tell Esther on a pretty regular basis, the man who complained about being sick all the time and then died, wanted it on his tombstone. See, I told you I was sick. You create your own reality.
It's like a vicious cycle, yeah.
It's a wonderful cycle. It's a wonderful cycle of evolution. But when those like you begin to acknowledge that while law of attraction may have hold of you, and your beliefs may be happening by default rather than by deliberate intent, that in the moment that you decide to care about how you feel, and in the moment you acknowledge that you have an inner being within you who also has an opinion or a perspective about what you are holding as your belief, then you have the capacity to evolve past what you've been observing. Then you break out of the cycle. Did you hear that? Then you break out of the cycle, because all through your building of beliefs, you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, you know what you do want, you know what you do want. You don't move very much in your beliefs in that. You just keep asking for things you don't believe you can have. And then you ask harder for things you don't believe you can have. And then you ask harder for things you don't believe you can have. Or you ask softer for things that you believe you can have, and then you can have them. But you don't deviate far from your beliefs. But in all of that sifting and sorting and doing what you said you would do when you came into this physical body, you are creating, along with your inner being, a vibrational reality that is far more expansive than the reality that you stand in. Oh, whew. And your inner being stands, we mean that in a non-physical but very literal way, your inner being, the larger part of you, stays focused inside of that vibrational reality that you have created, holding such focus to it that now the law of attraction is not just responding to what you believe, it's responding to what your inner being believes. And knowing is much more substantial than believing. So you're over here with beliefs because you keep observing it. Your inner being is over here with knowing who you are, knowing your capacity, knowing your potential, knowing your worthiness, and knowing that you want this and this and this and this and this and this, right down to the minute detail, and understanding the laws of the universe. And so standing in full expectation of what you've asked for coming to be. Don't you want to let out a yahoo about that? Doesn't that feel exciting to you to know that? So now, what's logical now that we've had that discussion? Isn't it logical that you then begin to care how you feel, so you can tell if you are in any moment under the influence of beliefs that may not be serving you, may or may not be serving you, or under the influence of your inner being who knows so much more? What influence do you want to be under? And so rather than talking about beliefs and trying to sort them out, let's put all of our emphasis on how do you feel? How do I feel? How do I feel now? How do I feel? Am I allowing myself to be under this influence, or am I guarding myself and demanding myself and punishing myself and disciplining myself to try to control the uncontrollable? Think about it. You can't not control the law of attraction. The law of attraction is responding to your vibration. So you certainly are part of the control, but when somebody sets out to control something, you almost always focus on what's wrong with the part that's wrong. At the same time, you're focused upon what's right with the part that's right. And then you introduce resistance into the equation and you just slow yourself way down. Your inner being is not ever doing that. Your inner being is focused only upon what you want and why you want it, and seeing a clear path to the delicious and joyous and satisfying unfolding of it for you. Don't you like knowing that? And isn't this a good discussion about beliefs? So here are some questions for you. Would you rather, in a moment in time, be aware of your beliefs, or in touch with your true knowing?
In touch with, your knowing and your feelings.
And is there a difference?
Yeah, big difference.
And is there any resistance in your true knowing?
No, unless you put it there.
And could there be resistance in your beliefs?
Yeah.
Are all of your beliefs resistant in nature?
Somewhat.
All of your beliefs are not resistant in nature, but your inner being is the only one who knows the difference. Because when you believe something, you're not a good witness. You're not a good witness. Do you know that? You can't be objective when you believe something. You can't move beyond what you believe. We have not had this discussion. Is it twisting your brain into a knot? Can you feel it though? Can you get what we're getting at?
Yes.
So when you allow yourself those glimpses into your vortex and those glimpses into your alignment, and then you focus from that point of view, so all that is required is that you accept that there are these steps, and that you already did step 1, and that you filled your vortex full, and that your vortex is answered, and that's step 2. And now, so what is step 3? What is step 3? Is step 3 about perusing your beliefs and sorting it out? No, that's step 1. What's step 3?
Allowing.
Step 3 is listening for the knowing of your inner being and putting yourself in a position to hear it. Yes?
Yeah.
Hello. I'm super excited and thrilled to be here. I was almost picked the other day, and I stood up, and Abraham pointed out down and the person below, but the thrill of just standing up and thinking you are picked up was so good that I asked my husband, I was like, please, can you put your hand on my heart? And it's kind of similarly pumping right now because I have so many different things and so many different questions to start with, and to add, so to speak, onto what we've done already so far. But I wanted to ask if Abraham is ready to talk a little bit about some purely non-physical questions.
Whatever you want. We always point you back to here, which is where we are all, even in our non-physicality, focused. But we're happy to answer your questions to the extent that you can form images that make it sort of understandable to you.
Yes, because I'm clear that obviously we can come as close but not fully because we are focused physically here.
There's another reason that we don't do a lot of that, and we just want to tell you that first. We still are happy to talk with you about whatever you want. You all are really good at fully focusing on manifestations. So much so, in fact, that it's not easy to get you to even consider the vibration and the thoughts when they are in the process of turning to things. Most people are not very excited about paying attention to their emotions, which let them know, which are the indicator of the progress of the evolution of their desires. And so in some ways you might say that it's sort of counterproductive for us to focus so much into the non-physical that you can't see yourself working into physical. In other words, we don't want to go that way, we want to go this way. You are non-physical energy coming forward, not physical beings going to non-physical.
Understood,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had out of all of the different things and learning about the contrast differences between step 1, step 3, 4, and 5, there was one recording that I found that Abraham was saying, well, there is also a contrast in non-physical.
There is, but it would be imperceptible to you.
Okay, that was that. Okay, we are retired right there then.
Really, really so finely tuned.
Understood. And then I would be interested then to talk about the difference between step 1 and step 5. In general, I completely understand it. And just today I heard again that step 1 is where we actually, really make the progress and launch our desires. But the step 5 is where we want it to be.
Step 1, we want to say this in a strong way. Step 1 is really where your creation happens. It's where you make your choices. It's where you define what you want, which is what we mean by that's when you create, that's when you put it in the vortex. Difference between step 1 and step 5 is when you're in step 5, you're back in step 1, meaning you're putting things into the vortex. The difference is you're seeing it from the perspective of source, where you're empowered and clear, rather than the perspective of, in other words, you're under the influence of source and still focused on resistance.
Can you say that again?
We really wanted to say it especially well to you because you just asked the most important setup question for that. Is there contrast in the non-physical? Yes, we just don't look at it as a bad thing like humans do. We see it as variety. We see it as choices. So the difference between step 1 and step 5 are simply how it feels when you're in contrast. So imagine being so tuned in, so understanding of how it all works, and able still to explore variety and contrast without using it as a club to hit yourself or somebody else around the head with. You see? Continue. Your questions will take it further.
I don't think I have anything else to ask because everything so far that we've discussed, and I always feel great. I always feel, from the moment I became aware of Abraham's teachings and kind of had all the examples from before I was aware, it was clear to me that it's all up to us. It's all up to responsibility to, ball is in your court, so it's so easy and it became so much more fun and actually shifted me more towards the deliberate intent portion, which I so happened to carry in my hand today, and then you started bringing it up again with one of the previous people.